Hello, how are you doing? Welcome back to another vlog. This week we're talking all things networking and we're talking about Drawn In, which is a networking event I co-host with in collaboration with the AOI. This year's first AOI Drawn In event was all about the power of networking. So we brought in a good friend of mine, Dan, to speak about the power of networking and what it can lead to. Dan's got an amazing story and he's just been a fantastic friend over the years. He's a very talented illustrator, creative lead at Hollins, and the first time I met him was actually about a pet charcuterie event, which I then went on to help support. I've always remembered his talk. It's a fantastic talk. He travelled over from Ireland, didn't know anyone, made some friends, and has now got a really huge network here of people, and kind of that's the kind of value I wanted to bring to an event. So we set up this event, had Dan come and speak about the power of networking and how to meet people, and you know, there's networking events to go in and make business acquaintances, and there's ones to just meet people and be friends with people. And he taught some really good value that I'll go through shortly. But yeah, that was kind of the first part of the night that we hosted at Department Campfield. And then we went into speed portraits. So essentially we got people sat opposite each other on a massive long table, and essentially you drew the person opposite you, tried to get the details, have a chat, and then after 10 minutes you'd then kind of switch, move one place to the left, and you'd meet someone new. So a really different kind of networking event, I feel. So you've got a talk which kind of builds you up and gears you up and hypes you up for a big, a talk about networking, essentially, that gears you up and gets you ready to go, and then you jump straight into it. I think it was a massive success. It's kind of funny because originally we had a little bit slower start on the ticket sales for it, and I was kind of only dawned on me a little bit into the ticket sales that, oh my god, it's bank holiday weekend. That's why it's so slow. Obviously, I've been working for myself for years. Bank holidays haven't really registered for me, I suppose. But then in the last week or two, it just absolutely skyrocketed. It's been one of our best selling events, which is it's nuts. And we really filled out the space in Department Campfield as well. It just went superbly well. And we also played some weird and wonderful games as well. Dan had a word association game where you all just stand up and point to different things in the room and just say they're the opposite. So like that frame over there, I could say, I don't know, car, and that's a banana. And you just all stand around doing that. And at first I didn't really understand why we do that, but then what it does is it just kind of loosens you up a little bit. And then the next game we played was where we passed over an invisible box, or like imaginary box, and in that imaginary box that you hand someone, you pretend in your mind that it's something really valuable to them, and they open it and they tell you what they think it is. So for example, the guy I talked to handed him the box and he said, this is a narwhal horn. I was like, oh wow, fantastic. And then I passed him something over and pretended that it was really, really heavy, and he went, I'm guessing that's a narwhal's body. And I was like, yeah, it is. But it broke the ice and it broke the tension, and that's why it works so well, I think. So all in all, the night was great. So it basically ran from about 6:30 to 8:30. So everyone came in, grabbed a drink, went and saw Dan's talk, played some games, and then did some speed portraits. And then we obviously ended up in the pub afterwards. We even had a guy visit from Canada, which was nuts. So yeah, all in all, superb event. It's really got me excited to do more events as well. I talked in my last video about wanting to do more event branding. I think just events in general are just so exciting. So I thought I'd share some of the top tips that I picked up from the event, and maybe throw in a few of mine as well. Me and Dan are quite similar in the sense that we're both quite big extroverts and love a good networking event. So thought I'd mix in some of my own tips with some of the ones I picked up from Dan. I think the first tip that I think we can both all agree on is you don't want to go into these networking events all Mr. Sales. It just doesn't work. I think people see networking events as I need to go there and say, this is me and this is what I do, and expect some big things from it, when actually a lot of the connections I've made have been a slow burn. In fact, all good connections are slow burn, really. So you want to kind of approach everything with a little bit of a quiet intention. Go in, not kind of seeking to show off your value. Go in sharing your story, talk about what you do, but get a connection with someone. If anything, I think the biggest value from a networking event is actually making connections with people, not getting work or whatever. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, really. But really, you want to build a connection with someone first, and then ultimately have the goal follow on from there. I've got a contact that I met who hosted her own networking event. Fantastic woman, real powerhouse in the industry, and I just got on really well with her at the event. Went for coffee with her a few times, and she became a really good friend. And off the back of that, you know, I got some work out of it. But I didn't go in there with the intention to get work from her at all. Went in there thinking, God, this person's really fun. They'd be fun to work with, and they're just fun to hang around with. And it's great that work came from that ultimately, but that was never my intention. And I think that's what you kind of have to see it as a little bit, is don't go in with the intent to win work. Go in with the intent to make a really good connection. Because also, I've made so many great connections that have not meant work, but they've passed my name on, or passed AntiGravity's name on, and that's ultimately led to work as well. So it's about exposure, really. One that Dan brought up was be interested, not interesting, which I thought was really cool. I think I've started to, you've got to listen to people. That's effectively what that's trying to say. Again, I think it's that kind of rhino mentality of running in there and just be like, I'm this, I do all this, blah, blah, blah. And actually, it's about building that connection, yes, but also it's about trying to listen to them, listen to what they need to say. And maybe amongst all that, you can find a gap that you can kind of go, oh, you mentioned there that you sell printers, and you mentioned that you're trying to get more work in and it's a bit quiet at the moment. That's you're kind of in, because you've listened to the problems. You can then try and see if that's something you can solve, and just offer that free value there and be like, oh, have you thought about this, or have you thought about this way of marketing something? And that can be a way to start them thinking, oh, this person's really nice, they're offering me some free value, maybe there's something in working with them. Final one, and this is probably for the more introverted people watching this, is about getting out your head. I think you can really, really overthink, overanalyze, and just over worry when you go to these networking events, but it's really important, in fact always important, to go in there thinking everyone's in the same boat as me. Everyone's, or they have been. If you see a person who's surrounded by people chatting away, it's because they've made connections from events and thrown themselves into the deep end and just allowed things to kind of happen. And I think there's an element of that too. When I first started going to networking events when I was 22, 23, I went to a few before that, I was petrified of talking to people, which you might not think from knowing me now, but I was really, really what do I say? What do I go in with? And eventually I just learned that people are in the same thing. You just go, oh, what beer are you drinking? Or just have a general chat with them and realize, or just go, oh, what did you think of that speaker that's just been on? Find those common ground and build a connection. I think those are the key things, really. So if I was to summarize those 3 points, be interested, not just interesting. Build connections, then commerce, and finally think with your heart, not your head, which sounds silly, but it leads into the connection thing. Go in there thinking everyone's in the same boat as me and just see what happens. So yeah, that's a wrap on all things drawn in and the power of networking. As a little bit of a bonus this episode though, I actually did manage to grab my good friend John Cooper, who's a powerhouse networker, all around Manchester. He runs his own networking events too. I managed to grab him for a few minutes to talk about his view on networking and the power that can come from it. He drops some absolute golden gems of networking advice. So I'll let that play out next, and I'll see you in the next one. Here with my good friend John.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. Yeah. It's good to be at another drawn-in event.
There you go. So I was wondering, you are Mr. Network, as I was saying.
Allegedly.
Mr. Network in Manchester.
I don't call myself that. People have called me that.
I've known John for a few. I've seen you a few talks now, Petra Kuchar and stuff like that. You're just brilliant. I guess because this tonight event is all about networking as an illustrator. Mm-hmm. Do you have any good tips to network as an illustrator?
Ooh, tips for networking and illustrators. Shall I be controversial? Get out, and you've got to get out from behind the drawing board and go and talk about yourself.
Yeah.
But also take an interest in other people. Don't just go out and start talking about who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
Let's actually find out what other people do, and then find out how what they do can relate to what you do, and try and build that conversational bridge between you and them. The more you find out about other people, the more it'll inform how you can connect with them.
Yeah. It's a big relationships game, isn't it, really?
It is.
It's making friends with people as well as
Yeah.
like, I think some people can see networking as just like very businessy, but yet I think probably a lot of your friends from Manchester in the illustration place you met at a networking friend, and then they become friends and stuff.
And people say, oh, no, I'm no good at the selling thing. It's kind of like everyone's selling. If you're in the process of visuals,
Yes.
I mean, the good thing about illustration is the work can speak for you to a degree. It's out there. It's an advert for you, but people don't do business with pictures. People do business with people.
Yes.
You know, and it's kind of like, and I think
exactly.
that's also a good combat against AI in that, like, if people know who you are, then they'll know of your work. Then this conversation doesn't even come into it, because it's kind of like, well, we know this person, we've seen this person. He's not a robot. We've seen him draw some pictures, you know. So it's kind of like that helps kind of like get that out of the way.
I think it's you're right. Like it's also people like working, like you said, people like working with people, and it's like that's half the job sometimes in Illustrator. Is that yes, on one side you're doing great work and they love that, but you also just want to be really fun to work with.
Yeah,
and people love that, and people get, you know, like I imagine with you, like if I was working with you, I'd just be buzzing to talk to you. Like,
well,
and that's a part of the experience.
It's finding the tone of the event. It's kind of like some of the events I've been to recently have been really quite sensitive, and it's kind of been really eye-opening to do that. One more tip, my controversial tip about networking. If you're going to a social mixer, go to a social mixer and mix socially. That's not a networking event.
Yeah.
Don't go networking to a room full of other designers and illustrators, because they're all doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
if you're out to network to make connections for lead generation, find work, go and put yourself in a room full of accountants. Put yourself in a room full of people who aren't you, and that makes you a far better networker.
Because suddenly you become a fish in a very big pond rather than a giant fish in a small pond.
Yeah, and I think it can be more comfortable to be among your peers and the people that you know and the people that you like who are connected with what you do. But make the distinction in your head: am I out to network? And by the word network, I mean meet people to generate work for my business, or you're out to socialise. And then make that conscious decision about the event that you're going to, because one is not the other. And I think certainly where we are in Manchester at the minute, that water is muddy.
Yes,
you know, I think that water is very muddy about what people are doing. And there are events that you go to that look like networkers, and then you arrive there, and then there's like a DJ, and there's a talk, and then there's a poet, and then there's like really loud music. It's like, I haven't actually connected with anyone.
But I've had a lot of drinks.
I've had a good night, but I haven't actually done the work. I haven't worked the room.
Yeah, I don't think that's controversial. I think that's really fair, because I think, again, you're saying that, and there's so many events I can think of where you go into it like thinking, it's going to be great, there's going to be loads of people, it's just a big piss up, which is great.
But
not if that's what you're going for.
Networking is part of your work. Network. You are at work, you are there to communicate what your business does and potentially generate interest in the thing that you do. That is work, so it shouldn't feel like a jolly. And certainly if you go to one event and spend more than half an hour with somebody, you're doing it wrong. You need to work that room.
Yes, you do.
Work that room. Get round and see as many people as you possibly can. Talk to everyone. Everyone. What is it Gary Oldman says in Leon? Talk is just get me everyone. Get me everyone. Everyone. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you.